Hi, this is Jimmy from Alcatraz, and you're watching CMS TV.
What's going on, everybody? It is Chris Akin back with another edition of Chris Akin Presents. Thank you so much for watching. Please do all the podcasty stuff. Subscribe, follow, share, comment, repost, blah, blah, blah. You guys know the drill. And let's get to it, shall we? Let's talk some wrestling. I know for a lot of you, that's an instant turn it off, and that's fine because you won't want to hear any of this nonsense anyway. But for those of you that love wrestling, that love is being tested in the worst way from all these damn companies. As I record this, it is Thursday, January the 8th. And so we had both the first Raw of 2026 and we had the first AEW Dynamite of 2026. And as a wrestling fan, I cannot be more disappointed in where wrestling is today. And I'll explain why. And I just want to be clear here for those of you wrestling geeks that are out there, which there's tons of you. I am not one of these tribalistic guys. I know that's a big problem in wrestling right now with the internet tribalization of, well, you're either AEW or you're crap or you're WWE or you're shit or whatever. You know, I don't care. I love the WWE. I love AEW. I still watch NWA on Roku on Tuesdays. I will be watching TNA when it debuts on AMC. I'm a wrestling fan. I love it. And I'm not new to any of these shows either. I was watching the NWA, you know, obviously back in the old days before it became WCW, but even more recently, like 2019 and 2020, up to the pandemic, I was all in on that. Back when Ricky Starks was over there, and you know, quite a few of the players that went on to AEW and now WWE. Quite a few of the people were in the NWA for a little while, you know, before Corgan bought it. And I'm just a fan. I'm a fan of the product. I'm a fan of what is professional wrestling. And what we're getting right now is not anymore. I'm sorry, but it isn't. I'm going to say this, and this is going to sound stupid until I explain it, but I really think that the overabundance of money has ruined wrestling. It's just wrecked it. And that became glaringly apparent over the last year with both of the major companies. I'll really just talk about the two majors, AEW and WWE. And it hit its boiling point on Monday on Netflix with the Stranger Things Raw crossover. Now, if you watch WWE at all, you know that they're always prone to do this kind of junk where they'll let somebody give them a shitload of money, and they'll decorate their set or their ring or whatever with whatever to cross-promote a show or whatever, a movie. They've done it in the past. It's always been garbage. But whatever, you appreciated it. Maybe I appreciated it a little bit more in the older days, and admittedly, WWE for most of my life has not ever struggled financially, but they've had their moments where it wasn't as big and they cut down on fireworks and stuff because they couldn't spend the money and whatnot. They brought it down a little street here and there because it wasn't an overabundance of money. This last year, since they sold to TKO Endeavor, it's nothing but a cash grab on every single level possible. They're way overcharging fans to see the product. And the fans are stupid enough to spend it, so that's on the fans. I will give them credit. Look, somebody's going to if I wanted to sell this 3/4 drink bottle of orange juice, and somebody wanted to offer me $1 and then somebody wanted to offer me $1 million, guess what? I'm taking the $1 million. I understand. I understand that you want to make the most money that you can. The problem I have, though, is when it affects the product. And with WWE, almost to the day that they started with TKO, it has gone straight to shit. The storylines haven't been very good. The everything is about endorsements. They put, the Prime logo in the ring now, and, obviously things like this Stranger Things where they put all the underworld vines and stuff all over the set to try and make it look like it. I get it. It's a TV show. They're trying to make money. I get all of it. Problem I have, though, is that it just totally was junk. It was a waste. This show and I don't want to only isolate on the Stranger Things episode. I want to talk about all of it. Since going to Netflix in a multi-billion-dollar deal, WWE has been garbage, and it has just been going downhill and downhill and downhill, straight downhill. It's not even like slowly sliding down a cliff. It is just a rocket launch to the bottom. And it's because they don't have any cares anymore. They don't need the fans to appreciate what they're doing because they're making so much fucking money. And this all came to a head on Monday. Monday Night Raw this week had more commercials than I've ever seen in a wrestling program of any sort. They had a total of 4 matches, 4 in 3 hours. In 3 hours, they could only squeeze 4 matches in. And of those matches, I think each one of them had 3 commercial breaks in each match. It was just a tough watch. You couldn't get into the matches. You couldn't catch a vibe. You couldn't catch a good, bad, whatever. And I think the WWE knew that they were going to stiff on this thing, and that's why they might have floated this rumor that Chris Jericho was coming back, to kind of keep people hanging out to the end of the show until Chris Jericho inevitably did not show up. But it kept people hanging around, and you could notice it in the crowd. The crowd was very dead, and it was a New York crowd, which that never happens in, but it was because it was a bad show. It was, like I said, 4 matches. 3 of them were women's matches. Not that there's anything wrong with the women's matches. A lot of times they're better than the men's matches. But 3 women's matches and then one superstar match with CM Punk in it. That was your 3 hours. Total waste of time. Interspersed in between, they had some imagery of Stranger Things, and it wasn't anything. Not only did they have imagery of it, but they had exactly 0 members of the cast on the show. If you're going to go this crazy to cross-promote, can't you get somebody? It's not like Stranger Things has 2 cast members. It has about 10 main characters. You're going to tell me that Winona Ryder wasn't available to grab a paycheck and show up at Raw? You really want to tell me that? You're going to tell me that Millie Bobby Brown couldn't make an appearance and, I don't know, make her nose fake bleed or something and make somebody fall down in the ring? Something to make the crossover work. Anything. Literally all they did was played the Stranger Things music a little bit, had chapter names for each match or some shit like that. I couldn't even follow what they were doing. Again, because every time they were trying to do something, it was peppered with commercials on the front of it, commercials on the end of it. Just sucked. It just was a lousy, lousy, lousy episode. And now that moves me to AEW Dynamite, which was yet another lousy episode. Again, the AEW problem is what they've been working with, which is Tony Khan. Tony Khan is a very rich man, loves playing with his dad's money, and there's an abundance of it. And because of that, he has no worries about doing bad shows.
Hey, you. Why are you watching this with commercials? Go commercial-free and unlock exclusive content. Become a VIP today on Locals, Substack, or Rumble Premium. Stop waiting.
He has no storytelling. They tell no stories in these shows. And a perfect example was last night, one match in particular, but it was the whole show. The whole show was just matches that meant nothing. But specifically, there was a match with Jungle Jack Perry and he needed, he was facing Ricochet and the, whatever they are, the Gates of Agony. And he had two mystery partners coming out, and you didn't know who they were because they took Luchasaurus out the week before. So who are the two partners? The Young Bucks. The heels for the last year, the authority figures that they stole from WWE and made that their own thing for a year. Everybody hated the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks were awful. They were cancer. And seriously, they've been TV cancer for a while. They do not draw ratings. So what did they do? They bring them out. They bring out Jack Perry. They wait a second. They kick into the Bucks music. Here comes the Young Bucks. Apparently everything is forgotten. We have no memory of the last year that they were scumbags. The only memory we get is one quote from, I don't remember if it was Tony Schiavone or Excalibur, but one of them says, "Oh, it's amazing to hear the people cheer for these guys after such a bad year as authority figures or as EVPs." That's it. So apparently we don't need a story. Apparently we just forgive and forget. That's how it works. And that always sucks. And that's why AEW's numbers have been falling off the cliff for the last few years, basically since CM Punk left. Because once CM Punk was a big enough star that people are going to watch no matter how shitty the writing was. He's not there. They don't have a big star. MJF is not it, as much as I love him. I love MJF, but he is not going to put a million plus in front of a TV screen. He just doesn't do it. Sorry, that's just the way it works. But the real problem with both of these shows is they have no reason to give you a good show. AEW is not going to go broke. The owner of the company is worth $12 billion or something. WWE's not going to go broke. They just signed this 5-year deal with Netflix for billions of dollars. So in the end, what does that leave you? It leaves you with really high television quality gymnastics matches. And that's pretty much what we got. In AEW, that's all it was. It was not a great night for it. You know, the matches they're all right, I guess. None of it moved me terribly much. I don't even remember who wrestled who or whatever. That should tell you that none of it moved any kind of a story along or started something or whatever. And with WWE, it was lame. It was, name another time in your life that you can come out of an episode of a show where 2 different titles changed and you just don't give a shit. And that's where we're at with this, with Raw right now. It's really, really bad. Wrestling in general, I wish that they needed a little bit of money so that they would be a little bit more hungry, so that maybe they would try a little harder, trying to make more money. WWE doesn't need to make any more money, and Tony Khan, this is his chessboard, really. He's just moving chess pieces around, having fun. It's a sad state for us wrestling fans, and now that especially with the WWE pricing everybody out of it, if you like that one more, man, you need a mortgage to go to the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania, or now they're taking WrestleMania to Saudi Arabia. Great. So the American fans that built that company and made it worth billions, doesn't matter. We're going to take our biggest show somewhere else. Why? Because they're throwing fucking money at us. Sucks. It really is a sad state of affairs of where we are with wrestling. Might be time to move on. I don't know. I want to go back to the NWA, but they need some work over there as well. Honestly, I'm at the point now, I'm such a degenerate wrestling fan that I'm watching some JCW, the Juggalo wrestling. Because at least, even though Vince Russo's a clown all by himself, at least they're trying to be entertaining. And they clearly have to make their nut every week, or else they're probably not back the next week. So, I guess that, or maybe the indies, maybe I should look into AIW or one of these things and start watching that. I don't know. There's too much money in the big companies now, and it has wrecked wrestling, at least in my view. Leave a message, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to see what you think of it as well. See if you agree or you disagree. And if you disagree, tell me why. Tell me why having all this money is making the product better. I'd love to hear that as well. And that is going to do it for this episode of Chris Akin Presents. Thank you so much for watching. I will be back maybe tomorrow, and God knows if this flu clears up, I might be back tomorrow again. I don't know. I don't know, but I'm going to go. Peace, everybody, and we'll see you next time. See ya!
Get more metal in your inbox. The Classic Metal Show is on Substack. Listen or watch for free or subscribe for VIP exclusive content. Find us at cmspn.substack.com.